Welcome to Equans Voices, the podcast by Equans. At Equans, we design and deliver solutions that support our clients' energy, industrial, and digital transitions. In this first series, part of our Break the Code initiative, we meet women working across industrial and engineering roles. Through their stories, we explore a simple conviction: we cannot build the future without women. All right, now we move on to Alice. Alice, lovely to meet you and welcome to Paris. How are you doing?
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Wonderful. So, Alice, can you start us by telling us what you do today as a solutions manager and what your role involves on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. So I'm a solutions manager in the Carbon Shift team. I've joined about 6 months ago, and our main focus is to make the energy transition buildable and investable. So what this typically looks like is helping clients with their energy efficiency first and foremost. So looking at how the energy is used, where the energy is lost. And this is all in buildings.
Okay.
And we often say the energy, the kilowatt you don't use is the kilowatt that's the cheapest.
Oh, I didn't know we said that.
Well, someone in my team has a lovely line. Once you've made your energy use most efficient and you haven't got, say, a hot corridor clashing with a cold room, we'll then look to clean up the energy, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So you're moving away from your oil and gas and you're moving towards more renewable, cleaner methods. So that might look like a heat pump, but heat pumps can be quite expensive with a long payback.
Yeah.
And so the team looks to balance these things out, perhaps with renewable solar power on the roof. And that as a package will often make your energy more efficient and then your energy cleaner.
And what kind of buildings do you work in?
We do both public and private sector. Predominantly the private sector nowadays. This can be universities, It could be hospitals, schools, banks, corporate offices, a real mix.
Wonderful. And what does helping clients navigate the energy transition actually look like in practice?
I think it's really helping them navigate which actions make the most difference and getting them the return on the investment that they need to continue the good work.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of challenges do companies face when it comes to building decarbonisation?
The biggest one is making it affordable in the short term.
Oh, always,
It's definitely an investment, but the cost now will be less than the cost in the future.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned that you've been working in this position for 6 months, as I understand. How did Equans help you settle in your new position?
The team is really lovely, and the team has got a really experienced background from throughout all of the grades. And the women in the team, we formed a small community, and that's been really supportive.
How many people are in your team?
In Carbon Shift, around 30.
Oh, that is a big team, indeed. And how many women in those?
About a third of the team.
That's still a good number.
That's great.
Say, yeah. Are there any initiatives in the company that you joined or that you're planning on joining? For instance, specific networks or, I don't know, diversity and inclusion programs, charity works, things like this?
Yeah, I'm in the Women Together network and also in the Green network. I was actually really honoured. Only a few months in, I was nominated to go towards the new co-chair nominees, and I came second, which is a huge deal as someone so new.
Oh my God, congratulations. So I want to go back to your career because, as you said, only 6 months, it's a long time, but I want to go through your career before this. So can you tell us a bit about your career and what you did before you ended up at Equans?
Sure, I've had a really lovely squiggly career, actually.
Yes, squiggly. I love that word. It's brilliant.
It comes from the company Amazing If. They're these two wonderful women that coined squiggly career.
There you go.
It's really great. So I started out doing engineering. So I did engineering at university, popped out, not quite sure what to go. So I started in engineering consultancy and tried lots of different technical disciplines. I was quite organised, good with people, and so I sort of floated towards project management. Because of my experience in different disciplines, I was quite able to navigate and translate between disciplines and was starting to become a generalist.
Okay.
Someone in my team recognised that, and I was offered a short-term stint in Germany for 6 months managing a really big bid. Coming back from that, I then worked in major bids for about 18 months. Really exciting, a new opportunity every sort of 4 to 6 weeks to get bid from brand new opportunity to really shining bid at the end of it.
Amazing. What drew you to engineering in the first place when you started your studies?
I always liked design and technology at school. I had a fantastic teacher who was really enthusiastic And I think the practical element and fixing things and creating things, really sparked joy in my head.
Oh, that makes one of us then. I was terrible at this, absolutely terrible. Can you tell us a bit more, because you mentioned that you shifted through project management, bid management, and now sustainability. So can you tell us a bit more about how those shifts happened?
Yeah, of course. So the shift to sustainability came from initially an interest in my personal life. It was becoming more important in different ways, and I wanted to explore that with work as well. Mm-hmm. I was able to try out a few different projects, whether that was our company's first science-based target or doing a secondment, organising an important climate conference. And I thought, I want to make this shift full time. Mm-hmm. And so I did a squiggly move to a sustainability company working in carbon accounting and later climate risk. This is really helping clients set the baseline of what they want to do and their targets are moving forward. Mm-hmm. I moved to Equans because I wanted to move beyond the reporting, not just target setting, but the actual action. And that's what's so great about Carbon Shift is we really enable that. You take your target and your goals and go from concept design to detailed design. And then elsewhere at Equans, we can do the construction, maintenance and long-term operations.
Amazing. Was there a particular moment during your career where you realised that sustainability would become the focus of your work?
I think it was a gradual shift. Being in Bristol is a very climate-centric place, a bit of an echo chamber, if you like, but one that I really enjoy. Yeah. And I think this gradual shift.
So I want to go back to the answer that you gave, that you were recognised for being a generalist and the kind of theme of you being a generalist in a very technical environment. So how does that shape the way that you work currently?
That's a great question. I think being a generalist is sometimes still uncommon in engineering.
Yeah.
My team is technical and they're really great at what they do in all their different disciplines. And so understanding how a generalist fits in can be tricky.
Yeah.
I know that I have good skills and I've over my career learned to trust that in myself. And what I feel that I do well is speak to different people across the team in different areas and join dots that others might miss. I speak to all aspects of our team every week, and I don't think that's commonplace. I'm able to join dots, spot opportunities, do the business side of things, the commercial side of things, and have enough technical knowledge to be able to bridge from a client conversation to a business development one.
Mm-hmm. So you would say that being a generalist in this specific scenario is kind of an advantage for you.
Definitely. There's so many soft and transferable skills that you build up along the way.
Amazing. And how do you connect those different disciplines that you were mentioning? So engineering, strategy, sustainability, in a very kind of specific way. How do you connect them?
I think by experiencing them all individually. If you are a purely technical role, you may not touch all of those all of the time. Mm-hmm. I've worked in all of them, so they all come into my brain all at once for each instance.
And what does it take to translate technical information to decision makers, pretty much?
This is a good one about being a generalist. Some people can sound really smart, but if you don't understand what they're saying, how do you know they're smart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And something I've often received praise for is that everyone always understands what I'm saying because I tailor it to the level they're at. And even if it sounds simple to them and they think what I've said sounds easy, even better because they've understood it. So to answer the question is, understanding a discipline enough that I can say it in a simpler way. Because if someone can understand it in a simple way in different disciplines, that makes it easy to make those decisions.
Absolutely. We have a saying like this in French that I'm not going to try and translate because it's a very old saying that says, ce qui se comprend bien s'explique facilement. If you understand something well, then you can explain it easily.
Yes, watch one, do one, teach one, similarly.
Exactly. So engineering in general is still quite male-dominated. Mm-hmm. We will both agree when it comes to this. What has your experience been like as a woman working in those kind of environments?
Yeah, it was in my late teens and university that I realised engineering was male-dominated, probably about 10% women at uni. I think when you're young, you don't notice it so much because you're in that sort of sociable environment and people of your own age and generation. When I moved into work, I remember the floor plate I was on, there was 2 women.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually noticed it more because there's 2 of us. But when you're the only woman looking at a sea of men, you almost don't notice it as much. That just becomes the environment that you're
because
familiar with.
You don't see yourself as kind of an outsider. You just, you don't see the reminder that, oh my God, there's only 2 women there.
Right. And I remember my first project, I remember asking the project manager so many questions. And I later realised with that project, I hadn't delivered something wrong. I just delivered it differently.
Oh, right.
And that's been a huge lesson. And for me, sometimes they want a graph in green, but they don't say they want the graph in green. Mm-hmm. So if you produce a graph in blue, it's not right. But
it's been done in green until now. Why did you do it in blue?
Right. But, so I now lead with a sort of functional output. And I say to somebody, I want you to do this in a way that's you well. I want this functional output. Let's meet and iterate. Mm-hmm. And that way you get more from the person because they have the freedom to do it in a way that they can excel rather than a fixed way I have in my own mind.
That makes sense. Have there been any moments where you felt that you were standing out because of your gender?
I have had a few offhand comments. I'm wearing a particular power dress into the office that I thought I looked great in.
Love power dresses.
And someone's like, why are you wearing red? I'm like, because
why
it looks
not?
good.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why are you not wearing red?
Or, I booked for a colleague in a site visit and the person at the other end said, I booked that person in. And I said, well, what about me too? I wasn't just that secretary.
Yeah. Oh, I know about this. Have you experienced, both challenging and positive experiences, your gender, would you say?
I think the stereotype can be that women bring warmth and emotion to situations, and that can be helpful for different people things. That can and can't be true.
Yeah.
I've had very few days where I've had a negative experience.
That's great to hear.
I think it's just how an environment or a situation may just be different to what you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. That said, because I'd been in engineering for such a long time, you also become to adopt the similar structures. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes things are just generational differences as well.
That is very true.
So it's kind of acknowledging that, if you imagine an object that you see one side, I see the other, but someone else might see another side. It's that perspective. So it's just trying to think with kindness and assume positive intent and just look to clarify any differences if there are any.
Assume positive intent is a great takeaway. I absolutely agree with that. And have you noticed that the environment and sustainability has changed and now that the profession in itself has grown when it comes to gender imbalance?
Sustainability is much more balanced.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Lots of women working there. So you mentioned that, no, actually you didn't mention it. You mentioned it in the Excel file. So I should not reference something that nobody has access to. So I want to talk about something that I have experienced a lot during my career, which is imposter syndrome. Would you say that this is something that you've experienced in your career as well?
I think speaking to that different, not wrong scenario and doing things in my own way, that can feel like you're an imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Or, you watch 6 presentations done one way and you come in with this different energy and that can feel impostery as well.
Yeah.
But oftentimes you get praise from doing it differently. It's just about having the braveness to be bold to begin with.
And then having the feedback that tells you did a good thing. That's actually a good way to do those things that we didn't do before. I really like this.
But it's so scary before you get that positive feedback.
It is so scary. You feel like, you're doing public speaking in front of 1,000 people and that your life is in danger for some reason, even though it's fine. And what would you say helped you overcome those moments of doubts that you may have had?
I think it's reflecting on where's the evidence for that feeling? What are the past experiences that have proven that incorrect?
Yeah.
And I think over the years, I originally tried to, conform, if it's a men's environment, I'll dress like the men.
Yeah.
Or if that's the male energy, I'll do what they do. But I've reflected that actually that doesn't work for me, or I can think of a different way that might get a better result for me. So leaning into what feels right for me and is aligned to my values and doing that sort of with compassion and being willing to be flexible and adaptable.
This is great advice and I'm going to take it to heart because sometimes this is something that I forget myself. Did you have people in your life or in your professional career that helped you kind of get better in general and feel more confident in yourself?
I realised a few years into my career the value of senior female role models.
Yeah.
I didn't realise the value until I saw them. I didn't see them straight away. I think you have to be what you want to see if you can't see it.
Absolutely.
What was really great, actually, is getting mentored by both men and women and also getting mentored by people who think differently to me and people who have a different approach. I'm a very extroverted person, a very chatty person, quite comfortable vocalising my thoughts in a meeting. What I found really wonderful to learn from is those who are perhaps more softer spoken or more quiet, but are still able to assert their opinion in the same room. And I think historically, that's not what we've learned as being good. I think historically it's speak louder, come in quicker, but I've been in awe of people who have perhaps been more softly spoken but can still make a point. So it's looking to observe people that do things differently to you and seeing what you can learn.
That is an excellent point, actually. How did your achievements, because I'm sure you've had many, did your achievements help you build confidence over time, you would say?
Yes, there's a few key highlights in my career. I worked in Germany for 6 months on a really big bid with an international team. And my confidence to lead teams in a flexible situation really came through. Doing my first sort of office, lunchtime presentation to 100 people and confidently speaking, and people, went, wow, you did a really great job. And I'm like, is that not a normal thing to be good at? This comes so naturally to me. And then the third big moment is organising an international climate conference.
Wow.
Yeah, it took 6 months to organise a 2-week event.
Oh my God, what was it?
It was for the UN IPCC.
Oh, God.
So really, really important.
Yeah.
Really globally important stakeholders. And it was a post-pandemic, so it was sort of a hybrid in-person event. And, you're spinning lots of uncertain plates, lots of risk. But actually, I've become okay with that.
Yeah.
And I look back and that's a huge achievement.
Not
everyone's done that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know I can be organised if I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. If you've done this, there's not much that you cannot do, I'd say, pretty much. So I want to kind of move back to your day-to-day activities at Equans and whether you can tell us in a very specific way what your day-to-day job looks like specifically.
That's a great question. Getting into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty. I love this expression, nitty-gritty, as well.
So we have internal calls in our teams. So that can look at talking about live projects. Mm-hmm. Can also talk about current opportunities, trying to move client opportunities from initial conversation to an actual proposal and opportunity. Mm-hmm. Having those client conversations, whether that's the first interaction they have with Equans or they've been working with Equans a little while. And where they've worked with Equans for a little while, but in a different area, it's about having a conversation about what Carbon Shift can do, understanding their energy concerns or their energy goals and the tangible actions they can take and how we can help them do that. You then might be preparing a proposal for that work. So writing down what their problem is, what they'd like to achieve, how our services can help them do that, and then putting together a schedule and a cost for that proposal, and then bits of project work as well.
And how much would you say of your time is spent with client versus internal work?
About half and half.
Half and half, okay. You mentioned preparing proposals and developing new services. What does that involve pretty much?
So a new service involves understanding the market need. What is there a need for? What is there a trend towards as well, both in terms of client need and perhaps more macro environment need. So there's a huge need to decarbonize. There's a huge need to be aware of the risks and opportunities as a result of climate change and being able to act on those to make businesses more resilient. So it's that market research first and foremost. Once you've understood what demand is, you look at who else is doing it, what frameworks might exist, what structures are there. You might pick one or two that you think are ones that you can work with. And you'll look at the services the team already do and identify how we can use those and what extra things we might add on. So you've understood the need. You then work out what structures exist to deliver that work. And then you create a value proposition for your client. So if the macro environment says you need this and the structure allows you to do that, then you get this result with this benefit. Once you've got that upfront piece, that can go out to market for marketing and sort of feedback. And then you'll start to build collateral that you use in the project, whether that's dashboards, whether that's an Excel tool and whatnot, or workshop facilitation to then work with the client and then what that looks like in the output.
Amazing. And as I understand, you actually manage a team or teams. Can you clarify this for me?
I'll often manage project teams or bid teams. I haven't led or line managed a team, though I think because I mentor younger people in their early careers.
Incredible.
And manage projects and bids, a lot of those skills will translate when I get there.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what have you learned about leading multidisciplinary teams? Because from what I understand, this is pretty much what you do.
Yeah. I almost always lead a multidisciplinary team. And actually what's interesting is that a technical expert in one field would find that hard.
That is actually a very good point, yeah. And the fact that you're a generalist has helped you tremendously on this, you'd say?
I'm at ease not knowing. I don't need to be the best person. I don't need to be the most knowledgeable person. I just need to know enough about different things. So I'll hear, let's say, the instrumentation guy saying, we need to measure X, Y, Z, and then asking me to get it into the design, or vice versa. The design team's like, we need to measure the rotation speed of this thing. Let's put a sensor in here. And I know enough about both to say, well, you can't really put a sensor on something that's spinning quite in the way you imagined. Let's speak to the measurement team and work out how to do that. And then let's speak to the electrical team for how we can power that sensor in a right way so the cable isn't getting caught around that rotating piece, for example. Okay. And so I will facilitate conversations. I'm often the third person in a room to understand how different things need to come together. I use that functional approach I spoke to before and say, this is the output we need to achieve. I'd like to structure how we achieve that in this way. Who wants to come forward and lead each bit? And where can I identify support for those individuals as well?
And then how do we link both of the approaches of the people leading one part and the people leading the other part, pretty much? How would you say, or what would you say makes a collaboration successful between all those moving parts?
There's a stereotype I observe that engineers like to work in their discipline, in their cubicle. And it's very powerful just to put two people in one room and to help them realise that there'll be collaboration together. So I do a lot of facilitating conversations.
That's great. And what are the kind of skills that matter in this environment, would you say, in terms of leadership specifically?
Listening, patience, openness, compassion.
Amazing. And you mentioned that you were mentoring people in their early careers. Can you tell us a bit more about this initiative?
Yeah. Because I valued female role models myself, I focused initially on mentoring young women in their early engineering careers. And that might be before they've even left university, helping them work out what comes next, or helping them pick a master's, or helping them navigate the early years in their new job. And then since I moved to Equans, I've actually got a male mentee now too. Oh. And the same way I diversified my mentors from female to male, I'm hoping I'll get a similar diverse experience from there as well.
Incredible. Do you do this through Equans, or have you been doing this before you started at Equans?
So I mentored the young women in external programs, and then within Equans, I use the Pushfire platform.
Incredible. What can you tell us about this platform, actually?
You sign up as either a mentee or a mentor, or both. And then there are matchmaking calls where you speak to sort of speed date, as it were.
Speed dating, yeah.
And then you find someone that you align with and you go from there. And then it reminds you to have regular conversations and capture the thoughts.
Incredible. So I kind of want to move on to the type of advice, because I think that you'd have very strong advice that you would have for young women today. So specifically, if a young woman would consider a career in engineering or sustainability or energy transition, what would you be able to tell them to kind of encourage them to pursue this endeavour?
Yeah, I know when I was younger, I thought you had to have a job that matched exactly with your degree. And that's rubbish.
Oh, it is. It really is.
I mean, maybe if you want to be an electronics expert, you do that and have a ladder career, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing, but it's just not the case for everybody.
Right, and I started in engineering. I've moved to carbon accounting and climate risk. So I would say to a younger person, if you have an interest in something, pursue it. And if you're good at something, pursue it. And you've really done well if you can get what you enjoy and what you're good at to be the same thing. And try it out. That's a big thing about squiggly careers, is experimenting, and give it a good go, but feel free to move across and up in a way that works.
Yeah, exactly. Feel free to experiment.
It's not nothing forever. Exactly.
Is there anything that you wish you would have known earlier in your career?
I think just that if I wanted to do design technology and do product design, I could have still joined engineering.
Yeah. And do you think there are opportunities that exist today that didn't exist back in the day?
Oh, 100%. If you were to look at a jobs board and type in the word sustainability, I don't think you'd be able to rank the hierarchy of the roles at all. It could be anything from ecology to carbon to climate to net zero to reporting to sustainability to reporting to governance to strategy to action. There's so much out there.
How do you see your profession evolving in the future?
Ooh, good question. I think the older I've got, the more I've lent on my values and had more of a compass direction than a fixed target. And for me, it's about serving and following a passion. So having real clarity on what I can do to improve our action towards climate change and really accelerate that, and to serve people doing that as best I can.
Understood. So I know that you mentor young women in STEM. Can you tell us a bit more about this initiative?
Yeah, I was a mentee myself for a woman in design in my early career, and that was really helpful. And so I looked for schemes that offer the same situation in reverse, where I'm a mentor. And what was great is I could do this from early as 5 years into my career. And you're matched with undergraduate who's studying a similar area with a similar career field in mind. And then you're paired and you meet sort of every 6 weeks. You create sort of a contractual agreement between the two of you, and you meet to understand their goals. There's a lovely grow structure of your goals, your reality, your opportunities, and then sort of the way ahead, and helping them navigate that. So often it's about having someone just to bounce ideas off, talk about it, let them help themselves, and then just being there for them as they do that.
I feel like mentorship is something very important for you because it helped you during your career and now you want to kind of give back. So this is great. This is great to hear. I think this is a great opportunity and that everybody could benefit from somebody like you in their life.
Thank you. That's really kind.
You're welcome. In any case, it was a pleasure having you, Alice. I hope that you have a great rest of the day. Yeah, welcome to Paris again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Equans Voices, a podcast by Equans. To find more about Equans, you can visit our website at www.equans.com. Thank you very much.